And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 live broadcast. We'd like to thank you for tuning in this evening. Hope that you had a great Thursday. I am your host, Cruz Sherman. And first, I would like to thank our sponsors for your generosity and your support of Cruise Inc. Global Media and Marketing. Without you, we would not be able to continue these broadcasts and also bring you the wonderful music and programs on Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8. Our purpose, as always, is to be insightful, informative, and intuitive. And we're going to do that tonight because we have a great topic for you. What you need to know about the Social Security tax deferment. And as always, we like to bring you subject matter experts. And tonight, I promise you that we have two great subject matter experts and that we're going to be really delving into this topic. I'd like to welcome to the show Dr. Sherron Carrion and also Tyrone Hicks, who is a CPA. Welcome to the both of you. And Dr. Sherron, I think that you're on mute.
No, I'm off now.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Again, welcome to Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 live TV. First of all, I want to start with you. And for now, guys, you're going to hear me refer to her as Dr. C. And so, Dr. C, I'd like for you to tell us, you got some interesting letters behind your name. Kind of break that down for us and tell us a little bit about your specialty.
Well, I am actually Dr. Sherron Carrion with all these letters he said behind my name. I am a doctor of business administration with the specialization in human resource management. I have been in the human resource field as a director and above for over 20 years. And so, of course, I do everything from soup to nuts with HR. I currently work for an international nonprofit in New York City, where I reside in New Jersey. So I've worked HR jobs between New York and New Jersey, but also supervising staff internationally, including Ghana, Sri Lanka, and some other places. So I'm just really excited to be able to share my expertise with the panel. I'm known as the People's HR. Coach Sherron, I'm also known as here on Facebook. So I'm a wealth of knowledge and information, and I use that to share with people to inform and empower them.
Well, we're looking forward to having you. Also with us tonight is Tyrone Hicks. Tyrone, how you doing this evening again?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
All right. Tell us about your expertise and some things about you as well.
Well, I had about 36 years with the Internal Revenue Service and their tax department. Since then, I've branched out and went on my own. I specialize in individual and corporate income tax. I'm a certified public accountant, master's in taxation, and I'm just here to help.
I told you guys, viewers, that I had some heavyweights tonight. So you need to call your mama, call your dad, call all those so-called tax people that be messing up your taxes and tell them, first of all, we got somebody from here from HR, and then we got a real tax expert in the house. So we're going to be talking about, because I don't know, in my mindset, and I think I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But then again, I do know some things, and this tax deferment, especially when it comes to trying to break it down, is utterly confusing. So, Dr. C, I want to start with you first from an HR perspective, because what type of questions or what type of information from an HR standpoint that you've been dealing with in terms of since he first announced this in August?
Well, when he first announced it in August, unfortunately, it was kind of announced, but underneath other layers. There were 4 executive orders signed on the same exact day. So that executive order, which is called the payroll tax holiday, kind of went underneath because so many people were so worried about the unemployment extension. And so I feel like it kind of slid under the radar. So I think more than most people didn't even really realize that he signed this until the effective date, which was September 1st. So last week, literally, and then there were some employers who never said anything to their employees. And I think a lot of that had to do with, although there was an order signed, there was no detail on how to administer it. And I think employers were kind of waiting for guidance and instruction on how to administer. And so although it was signed in August, it really, up until last week, that's when people started going crazy trying to figure out, well, what is this and what's happening? And from an HR standpoint, it was really like, as soon as I heard about it, I knew about it. I was like, oh, we're not doing that. So that's kind of because administratively, from a payroll perspective as well, it's a lot of work to make sure that people are paying or not paying, depending on what the business had decided to do overall.
Now, from both of you, this is a question I want to direct. You just mentioned from an HR standpoint that it's a nightmare. And also, Tyrone, from I'm sure you deal with a lot of smaller companies as well. Is it a nightmare for them, just like Dr. C just indicated in terms of what to do in terms of the protocol for all of this?
I think the biggest thing with the small businesses is that once they understood what this deferral really meant, that it wasn't worth the trouble of implementing it. And it's not just the administrative part, because you have to change your payroll system in order to get this done, but it was also the fact that one, it's a deferral, it's not forgiven or anything like that, so you're going to have to turn around and pay it back beginning in January. And most of the employers just felt that it really wasn't worth the hassle in order to do that, because they didn't want to see their employees have a reduced check in January through April just to pay back what they were given from September through December.
We're going to talk about that, because I know a lot of people, when they saw that, boy, you thought it was like the stimulus check again was coming back out. And first thing I did was, like, I went to, of course, our global process leader. We're a company that's over 7,000 people globally. And I'm like, okay, how is this going to impact each and every one of? And Sherron, when I saw your video, I was like, ding, the light went on. I'm like, okay, now I got somebody there from the HR perspective to talk about how this is going to really, in terms of the HR questions that are going to come about. Did you, from your employees, get bombarded with questions?
Actually, no, not from my employees. What happens is I actually do a show here on Facebook Mondays at 7 p.m. on my platform, Coach Sherron. And people know I'm an HR director. And so I started getting like inboxes before I did the video. I started getting inboxes like, hey, you heard about this? What's going on? Hey, you heard about this? What's going on? And I noticed it was just more people, more and more people. So then I started calling around to my families and friends. And I said, hey, has your employer mentioned this to you? Has your employer mentioned this to you? And it was like, no. And the day I did the video, which was last Thursday, I think it was about the 3rd or the 4th, I was literally in my car and I had just gotten off the phone with my sister, and she told me the same thing. And she's been with her employer over 25 years, that she had never heard of it. And at that point, I honestly became angry, because I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's already 3 or 4 days into this executive order, because at this time it's supposed to have been implemented September 1st, which means if your paycheck, you probably want to know for another 2 weeks, if your employer hasn't said anything until you got a paycheck, whether or not the employer made the decision to either opt in or opt out, because employers do have a choice. All employers except federal agencies have a choice. And so in that 9 minutes, I said, hey, listen, I can't keep calling people. So I'm just going to tell you what it is and tell you my opinion. And basically, because of course, as you stated, people thought it was a stimulus. And I'm like, it's a deferment. And anybody who has student loans, because I have them, we know what a deferment is. And we'll give it to you, but you're going to pay us back. And so I just did the video kind of as a clarion call, like, hold up, like, this is not free money. And I did not even expect in my wildest dreams that it would go viral the way it did, with over like 1.5 million views. Wow. And I was like, oh my God. But then in that moment, I realized how important information is, because it wasn't that people were ignorant to it or nothing. It's just that no one was sharing the information. And so I was just grateful that so many people found out about it. They started contacting their employers. Employers were getting mad. Like, where you hear that from? Where you hear that from? And so then it just came. She doesn't know what she's talking about. So I went on the IRS.gov website and I started giving people documents. Like, here you go, read it yourself. Because at the end of the day, the information is out there. The problem is, especially our people, we just don't know where to get it. And right. I feel like it's a responsibility of mine, especially to make sure. And that's why people been calling me the people's HR, because a lot of times, especially as HR professionals, we have a fine line and a balance. Yes, we work for a company, but we're supposed to be in the best interest of both. And like I tell people all the time, I work for you, but I'm on the side of truth. I'm not going to sit here and lie to people. I'm not going to withhold information. I'm going to be transparent and integral. And in that moment, that's just what I felt like I was doing.
Absolutely. And one of the things when I first had, I'm going to do a Joshua thing. I said, as far as me and my house, I knew right away what some options were. So, I'm like, okay, first of all, let's talk about this deferment thing, like you, because I have student loans, and I'm sure Tyrone probably paid off all his, those tax guys. They don't worry about that stuff. Not at all. So that part of the conversation, he didn't even blink when it said deferment.
I know, he's paid in full.
Exactly. So I knew then that this was something that we had to talk about, because again, a lot of people, look to us to bring them information and to help them to understand. So I had another show that we were going to talk. I'm like, we can talk about politics anytime. This is information that people need right now. And I want to put up something, Tyrone. I want you to, if you could, explain or break this down for us in terms of how this is laid out, and talking about the employer and the employee pays 6.2% of the wages, along with 1.5% for Medicaid. Can you help us out with that, please, sir?
Well, the 1.5% Medicare is not an issue on this. The deferment was just for the 6.2% of Social Security. And basically what happens if you're employed, you pay 6.2% into Social Security, and your employer pays 6.2% in Social Security on your behalf. And you pay the 1.45 in Medicare, and your employer pays the 1.45 in Medicare on your behalf. So in total for Social Security is 12.4% of your wages that's going into the Social Security Trust Fund for you to get when you retire. What this deferment does, it says that the employee does not have to pay their 6.2% between September 1st and December 31st. But the major part of this is that the employer is the person that's on the hook, right? Therefore, the employer is the one who makes the final decision as to whether or not they're going to opt in or opt out of this particular memorandum. And when I say that the employer is on the hook, let's say they opt in, and each employee gets to keep their 6.2%. In other words, they get to carry it home every 2 weeks in their paycheck. Well, in January, when it's time to pay back, it's the employer that has to make sure that the money is paid. The employee, now the employer is going to try to get the money from the employee. As long as the employee is working, they're going to take the money out. But the question really is, what if that employee, for some reason, no longer works there, right? That employer still has to pay that money back by April the 30th. Now, they need to work out some arrangement with the employee in order to get their money back, but they're on the hook with the federal government for that payment, because the rule says that the employer is responsible for collecting and paying the tax over. So even though this memorandum is out there, it does not alleviate the employer from their responsibility.
So, in your opinion, Dr. C and Tyrone, is that why perhaps people are so quiet about this? Because they know that in all actuality, it's the employer that's going to have the headache and not so much them. Because first thing in my mind was, when I was looking at the calculation, I'm like, how much money do I need to set aside in my savings account if I can't opt out of this, so that come January and I get my first check, I'm getting hit with that money that was deferred plus my regular 6.2. I'll go to you first, Dr. Sherron. In terms of how this pans out, is this why most large corporations are opting out? Because I know our corporation decided to opt out.
I believe so. One, because of the administrative things that you have to do to even make it happen with your payroll department. And two, if you really truly care about your employees, what is really the benefit of doing this for them? Like, seriously, what is really the benefit? This is not a stimulus. This isn't, and even on the video, and I talked about it with some other people, truth be told, they just want you to have more money in your paycheck now, so we won't have to declare a depression, because we're already in a recession. So we have one more quarter, which is this last quarter, of negative returns. We'll officially be in a depression according to standards. And we're also about to be we're in a presidential election season. So give some more money to the people so they can go out there and spend it in the economy. So I can say that I built up the economy, and look at the spending and look at the jobs numbers. This is really what this is about. This is not about helping anybody, because if it was, what's funny is we're in a pandemic and regular people only got $1,200.
Well, come on. This is what this show is all about. We're going to preach.
That's all regular people got. And if you have a child, you got an additional $500 per child. Where airlines, retail, small businesses that didn't even deserve. We're not going to talk about Shake Shack and a bunch of the other ones who decided when they were on the hook, oh, wait a minute, people are going to know we don't really need it, so we're going to give it back. People are still... I guess we're still living off of $1,200. I guess that's how mortgages are getting paid, and we're already in September. What happened to helping the regular person? And that's why when I said to people, when people were like, well, I need my money now. And I'm saying, you don't realize this is a setup. If it was really about helping you, the government can make money if they want to. Of course, we know with inflation, all these other things, that's not something you want to do. But we spent trillions of dollars to bail out businesses. This is not the first time we've done this. And the one time where you can help regular people, you're telling them, oh, guess what? I'll give you a deferral. I'll give you a deferral. It's not even here. There are other countries that gave people 6 months of salary and paid their, let alone pay their healthcare bills and stuff. We only worth $1,200.
Ooh, Tyrone.
No, but this is truly a zero-sum game when you really think about it. The deferral is only, if it's a December deferral, it's only a couple of weeks. Right? Because the deferral is from September through December, and then beginning January, the way it works is ever how much the deferral was from September through December, add it up and divide it by the number of pay periods that you have between January and April. And that's how you're going to pay it back. So it's not like it's even a deferral for a year. You know what I mean? You know,
But that's 4 quarters.
It is only 4 months for the first piece, right? This is truly a zero-sum game, and it's smoke and mirrors. This is truly what it is. Which and we're a whole lot of the small businesses say, I'm not messing with it. It's not worth it. I'm not going to put my employees in that position. Because, yeah, I mean, everybody wants more money. But then you got to pay it back. And you got to pay it back quickly. Now, all of a sudden, if you didn't put it in the savings account, because if you put the money in the savings account, you didn't do what Trump wanted you to do. You didn't spend it. You did not help the economy at all, right? So you're going to spend it, and now all of a sudden you got less money coming in. What you going to do now?
See, and that is what kept resonating with me is that again, come January, people are going to be, if they're already in a hole now, just like Dr. C said, you're struggling, you got that little 1,200, you went out and brought a new TV and got Ray in them. So I'm not trying to be funny, but a lot of people did not spend that money wisely because they were expecting a second stimulus check that we know that they already said Mitch McConnell, I'm gonna call his name, said that ain't happening. You know, in fact, those of you that had relief from your loans and stuff, guess what? We're gonna end that. Those of you that were getting $600, $700, $800, $900 for unemployment, guess what? You better go back to $300. So again, if like Dr. C said, if they wanted to help us, other countries were giving out large sums of money, but as you just said, Tyrone, come December, and when people start ready to file their taxes, I'm sure they're gonna be looking at you and say, Tyrone, let me get Tyrone on the phone because I need to. What we gonna do? I need to call Tyrone. Yeah, let me call Tyrone. So you were saying, you know, again. How about now? I was reading something just a few minutes ago from plan sponsors, and it says that even the IRS at this time, they don't know how they're going to navigate this moving forward in terms of if there's going to be penalties, if there's going to be interest on money not paid back, if there's going to be an extension. So we're traveling blind here. Would you say that in your opinion, Tyrone?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that the IRS has to do is to make a determination when the W-2s are filed. You have the Social Security wages. If people opt into this, it's not going to match. So they're going to have to come up with some system to determine, well, is the proper amount of Social Security actually paid for this particular individual? And they haven't started on that yet. They acknowledge that that's a problem, but they haven't started on it yet. So no one was really looking for this. You know, I do believe personally that most private companies are not going to do this. The federal government has, in the military, they have no options. Right. What I've been telling my clients to do is, if you're considering opted in, talk to your employees and let them make a choice. You know, because everybody in the company doesn't have to opt in if they don't want to. Right? But it's an employer's choice, right? And depending upon the employer, some might say, no, I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to opt in, I'm not going to ask because I don't want to go through the hassle of having to do dual processing every paycheck, right? Because that's an additional cost. So, yeah.
I mean, you know, what this is, and again, I'm not regulated by the FCC. The GOP don't pay my bills. So I'm going to call it what it is. It's smoke and mirrors. Absolutely. There are a lot of distractions going on. And like I said, we got to give information to the people to understand that you can mess around and think it's Christmas here in September, but woe is to thee that don't understand
Mhm.
what's going on and make some provisions. Like my wife, she works for the federal government, and so they have no option. And first thing I told her to do is that I tell you what, we're going to put that money and back. We're going to put it somewhere. Don't touch that money because I guarantee you, in January, you're gonna wish that however this pans out, that you had that money and say, okay, hey, let me cut you all my check so that I don't have to deal with this anymore. And that's first of my excuse to Ron. Is that what you're telling people? And then Tyrone, I'll go back to you as well. What are you telling your family? I'm gonna keep it personal, right? Your family and friends.
Well, first of all, I'm not a tax professional. Thank you, Tyrone. I've been referring people to their tax professional. I've said, of course, you can
Call
save the
Tyrone.
money and yeah, exactly, and put it in a bank account or so. But I also have been referring them to their tax professional, or if you have a financial advisor, because you can say, okay, this is going to happen here, and I don't have a choice. Let me prepare. And that's what I've been telling people, because unfortunately, as Tyrone said, there's some employers who are just like, we all in or we all out. There's no in between because, of course, with the administration piece, and I didn't opt in. Yes, I did. I didn't opt out. Like, people don't want to deal with that. So I've just been telling them to get with who helps you handle your finances. And if you don't have someone, you do have someone who helps you with your taxes. Contact them and say, listen, I don't have a choice. They're making me opt in. What do you suggest that I do? And I'm an actual tax professional, because I told them, I mean, I've gotten inboxes. I have over 1,000 friend requests on Facebook alone. I've been getting inboxes, emails, everything. And I've been answering people back because, of course, they just don't know what to do. And my number one thing is go to a tax professional. Talk to them, the person who does your taxes every single year. Talk to them and get sound wisdom and advice for someone who does this. If they're saying, well, I only go to H&R Blog and they're not open to things of that nature, I'm saying calculate what is 6.2%. Because in the grand scheme of things, people were like, oh, it's only 6.2. It's only 6.2 to you because you're seeing 6.2. But when you multiply that times your salary and what you're paying into it every week or every 2 weeks, and then they're going to be deducting that plus the additional, you don't know how much that's going to be. So I'm telling people, look at it in black and white and see what it is so you'll know what you need to save. So if they say, well, you can't pay it off the top, then while they're taking the money out of your check, you still have a cushion of money to do what you need to do to survive from January to April. You don't want to get caught up. People are already afraid of evictions. And what's funny is I'm like, you guys, we're working.
Right.
This doesn't even qualify. I make more than $104,000, but I was mad because I'm saying, people, we're working. Just pay if you can. Just pay it. Because you're working. There's so many people who are not working, who are struggling, who are dealing with evictions, who are trying to get mortgage deferments, and you're still getting a paycheck, and you think 6% is going to make a big deal for you to get in your pocket? It's not in the grand scheme of things, and you're going to be taxed more before you even get it. That's the part. Like, if your check is more, that means you're paying more in taxes.
Absolutely.
You're not even 6.2%, because the Fed's gonna get theirs off the top. And I said to people, what's funny is, and again, I have my own conspiracy theories about why we're touching Social Security in the first place, because they want to privatize it and all that other stuff. We could do another show about that another day. Why aren't we touching?
We're gonna do that. I'm gonna hold you to it. We all gonna come back because there's some more to this.
Why aren't we touching the federal income tax? The feds want to help us. Why are we touching that? Why are they not making that zero? And you take that. We're touching Social Security now? Okay.
Let's call Tyrone on that. Tyrone, can you help us on that?
There's not much I can say on top of that, but what I tell people who call me is put the money in a safe account. Right? Okay. You don't want to be speculative, so if you're going to put it in the market, you want to make sure that it's in something real safe. You don't want to be speculative in the market, because you put it in there, your money could be gone. And then you're in the same spot that you are. So you want to savings accounts, anything interest bearing or federally federal documents, stuff like that. It's not going to pay you a lot of money, interest wise, but at least you'll have the money there for when it's needed a couple of months down the road. Remember, this is right after Christmas.
Yep.
Hello.
So we know what we do at Christmas time.
Right.
January, we broke. Okay? And then we talk about having less money in our paycheck, right? Because of this. So we're broker than broke. So now what we're gonna do? So you got to prepare for that. Just like you said earlier, this is just smoke and mirrors. It's something that the president decided that he wanted to do to boost his economic plan. And he wanted to put it forth before the election, which is why right afterwards you got to pay it back.
Mm-hmm.
Got a quick question here. Now, is it 6.2% off your gross or 6.2 off your net?
No, it's 6.2% of the gross income.
So again, people, here we go. That's crucial, because if you're talking about, well, after my taxes, I only bring home $500, but you make $1,000 and you trying to set back money off that 500, you're gonna be in a hole again, a serious hole, because you're not gonna have taken out. If I'm correct, my math a little shaky here. I went to a couple of colleges, but math wasn't my specialty. So again, if you are doing your calculations off your net, you're actually creating a quagmire. Would you all say that? Agree with that?
I would say that people, especially people, are saying, well, I'll deal with it when it happens. In the grand scheme of things, it's going to be more of a headache later on. Mm-hmm. And especially, like you said, right now, it's that gross piece. But once it's time for you to start paying it back, you're going to see that in your net. That's where you're really going to see it, because now you're no longer paying 6.2%. You're going to be paying 12.4% of your gross come January. And so
let me type that in. Let me type that in real quick so folks can see that again, because I don't think they got that one, Doc. So we're gonna create a special banner for that again. 12.4%, and I'm gonna make sure that they see this is what we're talking about here in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Because that right there, I want you all to see that now. I just put it on here. Again, it may be 6.2 now, but in 2020, 12.4% is what's going to hit your, again, it's going to be of your gross salary and not your net. I think we have to keep driving that home there. So, Tyrone, and I'm sorry I kept y'all 5 minutes over the time, but this is good, and I think that again, people, and I won't say anybody, if you have any questions in our viewing audience right now, go ahead, whatever page you're on, go ahead and put your comment in the comment section, or your question in the comment section. We're going to take about another. Can y'all give me about 5 more minutes in case we have some questions here to deal with this topic, because we can't deal with it in one time. I want to say this. I'm going to give an opportunity if you have HR questions. We want to make sure that Dr. C give her information out. And if you have any, again, tax questions, we're going to make sure you call Tyrone now. we're going to make sure he bids it the rest of the year. And maybe he'll give me a 12.4% discount. Some type of referral. I've been out selling cans so I can make this program stay on the air. We're gonna do something here. Tyrone, when it comes to now, again, since this money is going to be deferred, is it, when it comes time for taxes, is it going to be counted as income?
No.
Have we even got that far yet?
Yeah, it's not going to be, because it's a deferral of Social Security that's withheld from the income. So that 6.2% that we're talking about, let's say you made $1,000 a week. Okay, that's 6.2% is $62. Okay. That deferral of that $62, the following year is going to be reducing your net income by that same $62 per year. So, but it's computed on the gross. The gross is not going to be grossed up. Okay. To include that amount. Okay. One of the things that the federal government is really not sure about is what if it's not paid back to the employer in the subsequent year. Now that's when they're talking about grossing up. Okay, that's one of the ways the employer can get his money back. It's by grossing up your wages.
Say that one more time, bro, because you faded out a little bit. I want to make sure everybody heard that part there.
Yeah, when you're paying it back, if the employee for some reason doesn't pay the employer, one of the ways that the employer can get its money back is to gross up your wages. Right? Gross up your wages by the amount that you owe them. Right?
Okay.
And then that way they're whole. And when you file your taxes, you're going to be the one that's going to be having to pay. You're not paying in Social Security, but you paid an additional income tax. So you're going to have to be the one that pays it back.
You see on here, one of our viewers on here said, going to call Tyrone. And I'm sure your phone, in fact, listen, I got one more thing with him here. We're going to make sure we put Tyrone's phone number.
Put it up. We're good.
For sure. All right. Again, we can go on and on about this subject because there's so much, but I want to invite you all back because I'm sure before the end of probably the end of this month, when people, especially, it didn't go into effect for most people's payroll this past, if you got paid, today is the 8th, so you really hadn't felt it, maybe by the 15th.
Right.
And the 30th, you're going to see that money, and again, you're going to get happy and all that, but understand that, again, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. If you can, now let me put this disclaimer out here. This is my personal opinion here. Don't do it.
Absolutely not. Save your money and let him figure out another way to get the economy up and running the right way.
Ooh, so that is another.
Because that's all it is.
Yeah, it really is. And we have to call a spade here is that, it looks good. It sounds good. But again, you got a lot of brilliant people that work at these corporations that hire brilliant people like Dr. C and, of course, Tyrone. They don't have to hire him. He went out on his own because, they couldn't pay him enough. But, you got a lot of brilliant people out here that run these companies that looked and saw that, wait a minute, this right here is nothing but a temporary Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that might preach somewhere.
It sure will. I was like, ooh.
Indeed. Again, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. And Dr. C, I want to start with you. Let everybody know how they can find you on your social media and how they can get in contact with you in reference to HR questions. And then we're going to go to Tyrone and let everybody know how to ring your phone. We're going to make sure that my girl, Erica Badu, don't charge you any royalties on that. Your name is actually Tyrone.
Well, all my social media handles are Coach Sherron. That's SHERRON. I am on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I am on Instagram. And in about a week or so, I'll be on YouTube. But I am live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm giving it to you exactly as you've seen in the last week, how God gives it to me. And I am sounding the alarm. And so if you have HR questions or any other questions, I'm a life coach. I do a whole bunch of other different things. And so I just want to make sure that our people have information, because information really is what can empower us to take us further than what we already are. And so that's what I talk about on my platform, just trying to get us to our next. And so I'm just really excited, and I'm honored to be invited to your platform.
I hope you'll come back. I hope I made it lively and fun enough that you like, you know what, that fool crazy, but I'll go back.
I'll be back because I want to talk about why he's trying to get us. This economy thing.
And I'm gonna say this, and I got to get with Tyrone here. We're so polarized now about every subject. You can be talking about Fruit Loop cereal, and it's going to start some type of debate that's about polarization and fear. This is what is being created here, everybody. I want to let you know this. This is my PSA. This is my personal opinion. Most of the stuff that's going on right now is to generate fear, hate, and division. So look and weigh out all your options. And don't use emotions. Use some logic in your thinking. Tyrone, go ahead. I'm gonna let you have some closing words and let everybody know how to contact you.
I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on anything. Okay. If you want to reach me, you can call me 804-920-2225, or you can email me at gthickscpa@gmail.com.
And if you didn't get that, you can always go to our archives, because this will immediately after the broadcast be on our YouTube page, which is Cruise Inc. Radio 102 TV. And you can catch the number. You can hit me. Don't everybody hit me at once in my DM. If you want Tyrone's number, I'll DM it to you and everything. And then again, I'm gonna be shooting all kind of referrals over there to Dr. C. I'm gonna blow up y'all page.
Blow her up. Blow her up.
Indeed. So, any closing words? Anybody want to give a shout out to Dr. C?
Well, first of all, I really want to give a shout out, and I said it even on my social media, to honestly, social media land. You guys rock. Like, seriously, that I can't even take credit. I just shared a 9-minute video, and I mean, you guys made sure that your mama and them, people who wasn't even on social media, got the information. And so I just want to shout you guys out, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. It's about us getting the information out, sharing it. And you guys know, especially those who listen to me, I'm integral. I'm a tag you in actual documents and things of that nature. I'm not going to just be sitting and talking about whatever, but you guys are so awesome. And of course, I gotta shout out my leaders, Apostle Dr. Stanley J. Gurrell, because he told me this was going to happen. And I said, I don't know how. And here I am, because I run my mouth. And so my husband and my children and, all of that or whatever, they're quiet now. So I'm grateful for that or whatever. But just my family, my husband, my leaders, for just constantly pushing me to open my mouth. Because really, there was a time in a season where I just wanted to stay quiet, and just seeing how 9 minutes affected so many people's lives. I'm just honored that God would even use me for such a time as this.
Absolutely. And Tyrone, before you give your information and closing word, I'm going to do a shameless plug here. Since you're not on social media, guess what we do? We're a media and marketing company, and that's what we do for people that are so busy that they don't have time to manage their social media. Guess what? We'll do it for you, and we'll give you a 12.4% discount.
That's good.
Well, I'll tell you.
Any shout out?
This has been a treat for me. To be on here with such graceful and talented people. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be on here and to share the information with the audience. My shout out is going to be to the people who protested in Richmond, Virginia peacefully. I think that is one of the ways that we can bring about change in this country. But if you notice, I said peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the young people who are out there, black, white, uh, Asian, all different persuasions, who recognize that injustice in this country has been here too long and are willing to stick their necks out to make changes to something. I just applaud them.
Absolutely. And I want to say big shout out to my friend Colette McKeaching, who actually referred Tyrone to us. And again, want to give her a big shout out for that because, again, we have some great subject matter experts. And I am just high and happy, peacock proud, and elephant elated to have you all on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Again, we thank you for tuning in, and we hope that tonight's show has been informative, has been insightful, and intuitive for you. We're going to have this great panel back again, and we're going to continue to make sure that you have the information. If we don't have it, guess what? We'll look for it, we'll research it, and make sure we bring it to you. So you guys be safe out there, wear your mask, wash your hands, and keep your social distancing going on. This is your boy Cruz, the Beast from the East, Cruise Inc. Radio 102.8 live stream TV. You all have a great night.